Hi there, everyone. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are A Tig of Your Own.
Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woo! Yay! It's almost Christmas time.
It is. Getting close.
It is.
Almost here.
Hooray! That's a good thing.
Yes, it is. Get some days off. I need it.
Which brings us to what we're actually talking about today.
Boy, we got right to it there, didn't we?
So Stephen Covey, one of your favorite authors.
Yeah.
Wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the habits.
Among others, yes.
One of the habits is to sharpen the saw. He tells us that we must never become too busy sawing to take time to sharpen the saw.
Yeah.
We must never become too busy sawing to take time to sharpen the saw. What does that mean?
That means that, and this is a trap that, I think a lot of us fall into, is you think that you have to be working all the time. And the analogy comes from the idea of you got 2 guys that are, chopping down trees or sawing down trees, and they have 2 different approaches as to how they go about trying to get their allocated amount finished. One of them just keeps on sawing even when the saw blade starts to become dull, because that's what happens. You get that friction and your tools, your saw is very sharp to begin with, but after a while the blade begins to dull. Well, that means it takes a lot more effort. It becomes harder, more difficult to actually cut down the tree, cut the wood. Whereas the other guy stops from time to time and sharpens the saw. That way, make sure that whenever he is trying to chop down the tree, that the saw is in the condition to get the job done without so much effort and frustration on his part. And that's the whole idea, is that from time to time, we need to slow down. Sometimes we even need to stop for a week or 2 and sharpen our saw, so to speak, because we are the instrument. And if we're not at our sharpest, then we're not going to be nearly as effective, which means that things will be more difficult to get accomplished. It'll be more difficult to complete tasks, to do your work, certainly to think, which is one of the other things that is often advocated for with the type of work that we do, the type of things that we do, is just taking the time to think. But that's hard to do when you're so mentally and sometimes physically exhausted that you just can't. Okay? I just went through a stretch with a lot of work, and I found that I was exhausted at not only the end of each day, but at the end of multiple weeks of intense activity. And the thing that I noticed with the work area that I was in general is that people were getting to the point of exhaustion. They were doing things that they would not normally do that weren't good. And it's simply because mentally they weren't there anymore. Because you can only push so hard, you can only go so hard. And we've also watched, productivity drop, quality has diminished a little bit. And it's because, again, people are just, they reach that point where the saw is not sharp anymore. So that's why, this is a topic that we picked for today, is because right now is a perfect time to sharpen your saw.
For some people.
For a lot of people, because what's happening?
Your Christmas,
holidays. Okay. Even the people who are having to work through the holidays, in most cases, they're going to get opportunities to get some downtime after. And if they don't, they need to figure out how to, because you really need that, especially after intense periods of long hours and a lot of work. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
Anything you want to add?
When it comes to one of the other quotes that I saw when I was looking for quotes for this particular day was the one by Abraham Lincoln, where he says if he's given 6 hours to chop down a tree, he'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe, sharpening the saw, and then it'll make the 2 hours of cutting down the tree that much easier.
Yeah.
And so think about, like you said, there are some people who are going to have off for a couple days here and there over the next week or two. So think about, though, the coming year and how can you strategically take time off so that you can sharpen your saw.
Right.
Because that's what you need to do.
Right.
I mean, ideally, every quarter you're taking time off so that way you don't get burned out.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so, and that's also why, when you have these intense periods of activity and we do around the holidays, we've got a lot of businesses, a lot of companies that they do a tremendous amount of their business here in this last quarter of the year, and most specifically starting from around just before Thanksgiving until after Christmas. That means you also need to make sure that you are putting yourself in a position where you've sharpened the saw before you start, exactly like you were saying with Abraham Lincoln, and then being ready to, take that break afterwards. It is necessary because, what happens when you don't do that? Well, then you risk reaching burnout. And that's the absolute worst place to be. That means now your saw is broken. Yeah. And you certainly don't want to be there. So, you need to, because it's interesting, because I talk to some people and, for them, they're like, I don't want to take any breaks. I don't take breaks. And it's like, no, you got to take your breaks. I even talk to people when talk about taking breaks during the day, just during the workday. And some of them don't want to take breaks. It's like, that's crazy. That's how you burn yourself out. And so the reason that's important at this time of year is because, again, you got the holidays. Most people are going to have Christmas Day off. Most people are going to have, New Year's Day off. Some people have the stretch in between those two holidays off, and you need that. And that's the other thing, you should never feel guilty about taking that time. But you need that time to rest, relax, let your body and your mind reset. And then also maybe use a little bit of that time to, work on your plans for what you're going to do for the upcoming year. So there's definitely a value in taking that downtime and being able to sharpen your saw, so to speak.
Yeah, this is the time of year to figure out what your plans are for next year, and what is it you're going to focus on? How are you going to accomplish what it is that you want to do? Coming up with the strategy, coming up with the plans. This is the ideal time of year to do that.
Yeah.
We've talked about the 12-week year before. If you're interested in starting that, you could literally pick the Monday after New Year's. So that would be like, I don't know, that's the 5th, the 6th, something like that, of January to start your 12-week year. And by the end of March, beginning of April, you'll have accomplished as much in that 12-week period as you could in 1 year. But you need to prepare for it. And so this will be the time to do that. This will be the time to rest up. This will be the time to put together your strategy, put together your action plan. And then after the first of the year, jump in and start doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yeah, there we are. That's why this is a valuable time of the year. And it pays to take the downtime, during the holidays.
So if they needed help developing a strategy, if they needed help coming up with ways to sharpen their saw, who could they reach out to?
That'd be us.
That would be us. How can they do that?
Multiple ways. You can call us on the phone and actually have a conversation with real words exchanged. Positive words, always positive words. 412-420-7975. You could also send us an email, and you could text us at that same number. if you don't want to actually have a phone conversation, even though we like phone conversations because they're a lot faster. You can just exchange so much more information very quickly. But you can also send us an email, info@ateagueofyourown.com, and ateagueofyourown.com is all one word. You could also visit our website, ateagueofyourown.com, and we're also on social media. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. And all of these Motivational Monday videos, they are there at your disposal for free. And all we ask is that if you go there, please like and subscribe.
Yep. All right. So Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah is also starts on the 25th.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Festivus.
The holiday for the rest of us.
Holiday for the rest of us.
Yeah, well, that's today.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Today, the 20th.
Today's 23rd. So yeah. Happy Festivus, and let us know who won the feats of strength in your house. How was the meatloaf, and what kind of grievances did you air?
The grievances. Yeah. That's another way to sharpen your saw. Just get it out there.
Yeah. All right. Have a great one, and we will see you next week, everyone.